Hello everyone, welcome you all in a video lecture series related to heat and mass transfer. We are dealing with heat exchanger chapter. Up till now, we have covered classification of heat exchanger and types of heat exchanger, then overall heat transfer coefficient and fouling factor, and in the last lecture we discussed the analysis of heat exchanger and LMTD method. Also, we discuss LMTD for parallel flow. Now, in this particular lecture, we are going to discuss the LMTD for counter flow. That is nothing but logarithmic mean temperature difference for counter flow, and some special cases for LMTD. Okay. So, first point we are going to cover, that is nothing but LMTD for counter flow. So, for that purpose, here we have considered the counter flow arrangement heat exchanger. So, for to understand this particular counter flow heat exchanger, we have considered the tube in tube heat exchanger. Okay, so or the concentric tube heat exchanger. So one large tube is there. Okay, and in between, in that large tube we have placed one small tube. So that is nothing but tube in tube heat exchanger. Now through the small tube, the hot water is flowing in this direction. Okay, so hot water entered inside the heat exchanger from this direction. Okay, and it will leave the heat exchanger from another side. Okay, now in case of a parallel flow heat exchanger, the cold fluid direction will be as that of a hot fluid direction, but in counter flow heat exchanger, the cold fluid entered in a opposite direction. Okay, so here the entry of a hot fluid. Okay, whereas from the opposite side the cold fluid entered in this particular compartment. Now the inlet temperature of hot fluid is TH1 and the outlet temperature of hot fluid is TH2. Now the cold fluid is entered from this direction, so the direction of flow for the hot fluid and cold fluid is opposite to each other. Okay, so hot fluid is flowing in this direction, whereas cold fluid is flowing in this direction. Cold fluid is flowing in this direction. So on one side of a heat exchanger where the hot fluid entry is there, on that side the cold fluid exit will be there in case of a counter flow heat exchanger, and where the hot fluid exit is there, on that side the cold fluid entry is there in case of a counter flow heat exchanger. Okay, so as this hot fluid flows through the heating area through the heat exchanger, the cold fluid temperature goes on increasing. That cold fluid temperature goes on increasing as this hot fluid transfer the heat to the cold fluid. Okay, so the highest temperature will be considered as a TH1, and the lowest temperature for the hot fluid we have to consider as a TH2. For the cold fluid, TC1 is the lowest temperature for the cold fluid, whereas the TC2 is the highest temperature for the cold fluid. Okay, so here the direction we have to remember in case of a counter flow, in which the flows are flowing opposite to each other. The fluids are flowing opposite to each other. Let us see the temperature distribution diagram with respect to area. Okay, so on y-axis we have considered the temperatures, and on x-axis we have considered the surface area or the heating area. Okay, so here we have considered that on this side at the entry of the hot fluid, so TH1 is the temperature on this side, so same temperature we have put up over here on the y-axis, TH1. On the same side the cold fluid exit is there. So TC2 we have placed over here. Okay, on that same side only. So the theta1 will be the temperature difference of hot fluid entry temperature and the cold fluid exit temperature. Remember this point. The hot fluid entry temperature or inlet temperature and the cold fluid outlet temperature is the θ1 in case of a counter flow heat exchanger. Okay, so as the hot fluid flows over the surface area of a heat exchanger, its temperature goes on decreasing. Okay, so fluid is flowing in this direction, in the same direction. Here also the temperature distribution line we have drawn. Okay, so as the hot fluid start flowing over the surface area of a heat exchanger, counter flow heat exchanger, its temperature goes on decreasing. So this is the direction of hot fluid flow. Okay, so and the cold fluid enters from the opposite side. Okay, so cold fluid enters from the opposite side where the hot fluid exit is there. Okay, so the cold fluid temperature goes on increasing in this direction. Okay, the cold fluid temperature goes on increasing in this direction, and the Tc2 is the highest temperature for the cold fluid. Okay, so now we have drawn this temperature distribution lines for the hot fluid and the cold fluid. Okay, so the proper array should be shown to encounter the direction of counter flow arrangement. Okay, so hot fluid flowing in this direction and whereas the cold fluid flowing in this direction. Okay, therefore θ2 in case of a counter flow, θ2 is nothing but the outlet temperature minus outlet temperature of a hot fluid minus inlet temperature of a cold fluid. Inlet temperature of a cold fluid. Remember these 2 points related to the counter flow arrangement. θ1 is nothing but Th1 minus Tc2, whereas θ2 is nothing but Th2 minus Tc1. Th2 minus Tc1. Now here to analyze the counter flow heat exchanger for LMTD method, we have considered one elementary area of that particular heat exchanger. So dA is the elementary area we have considered out of the total area for the analysis purpose. Now in that elementary area, so elementary area start from this point and ends at this point for the hot fluid, and elementary area start from this point for cold fluid and it ends at this point for the cold fluid. Okay, so as the hot fluid moving over the elementary area, its temperature goes on decreasing in this direction. Okay, positive x direction, the hot fluid temperature goes on decreasing. Okay, so over the elementary area, due to heat transfer, the hot fluid gets cooled by the temperature dT suffix h. Okay, so this much change in temperature happen for the hot fluid over the elementary area. Okay, now as you can see that the cold fluid temperature goes on increasing in a negative x direction. We can say that negative x direction because we have considered this is the positive direction. Okay, positive direction, and this is the negative x direction. Okay, so we are considering that the cold fluid get heated by temperature dT suffix c. Okay, because the hot fluid transfer the heat to the cold fluid. Okay, because the hot fluid transfer the heat to the cold fluid. So in this particular elementary area, dQ amount of heat will be transferred from the hot fluid to the cold fluid. Okay, now here we are considering that the inlet temperature of that particular elementary area for the hot fluid is T suffix H, and inlet temperature for the cold fluid or the exit temperature of that particular cold fluid for the elementary area we have to consider as a T suffix C. Okay, so the TH minus TC we are going to consider as a theta. TH minus TC we are going to consider as a theta. So the heat transfer, dQ amount of heat will transfer from the hot fluid to the cold fluid in that particular elementary area, and that dQ amount of heat nothing but we can find out. Let us consider an elementary area dA of the heat exchanger. The rate of flow of heat through this elementary area is given by dQ is equal to U multiplied by dA multiplied by TH minus TC. Okay, equal to U multiplied by dA multiplied by delta T. Okay, Then in this case also, due to heat transfer dq through the area dA, the hot fluid is cooled down by dt suffix h, whereas the cold fluid heated by dt suffix c. Okay. Now the heat transfer by energy balance equation, the heat transfer equation, or we can say that heat transfer, dq amount of heat transfer from the hot fluid or heat lost by the hot fluid, we have to consider as a heat gained by the cold fluid. Okay, that much amount of heat will be gained by the cold fluid. So dq amount of heat will be lost by the hot fluid, and the same amount of heat will be gained by the cold fluid. So that we can get from this particular equation. So minus m dot h multiplied by cph multiplied by dt suffix h. Okay, m dot h is the mass flow rate of a hot fluid, cp suffix h is the specific heat of a hot fluid, dt suffix h is the change in temperature of a hot fluid. Okay, here the minus sign is given because as we move on a surface area of a heat exchanger in a positive x direction, the temperature of a hot fluid goes on decreasing. Okay, the temperature of a hot fluid goes on decreasing, so the change will be negative. The change will be negative. So here we have taken the negative sign. In the same manner, that much amount of heat will be gained by the cold fluid. So the heat gained by cold fluid will be written as dq is equal to minus m dot c multiplied by cpc multiplied by dt suffix c, where m dot c is the mass flow rate of a cold fluid, cpc is the specific heat of a cold fluid, dt suffix c is the change in temperature of a cold fluid. Now here also, in case of a counterflow, we have taken the negative sign, because as we are moving on a x direction, positive x direction, okay, this is the positive x direction, so in that direction the temperature of a cold fluid, we can see that it is decreasing. Okay, in a positive x direction the temperature of the cold fluid decreases. Okay, so as the fluid is flowing in opposite direction, but we are considering the positive x direction, so temperature of a cold fluid in a positive x direction decreases. Okay, so the change or difference of next temperature minus previous temperature will be -1. So next temperature minus previous temperature difference will be negative. So DTC will be negative. So for that purpose, we have considered here minus m dot c multiplied by cpc multiplied by dt suffix c. So in a counterflow system, the temperature of both the fluid decreases in the direction of heat exchanger length. Hence the negative sign we have taken over here. Now from this equation number 1, we can find out the dTh equation and dTc equation. Okay, so from this particular first two terms, we can say that dTh equal to minus dq divided by m dot h multiplied by cph. Okay, and we know that the mass flow rate multiplied by specific heat of the hot fluid is nothing but the heat capacity of the hot fluid, that is nothing but C suffix h. So we have written minus dq divided by C suffix h. Now by considering the same equation, dq is equal to minus m dot c multiplied by cpc multiplied by dt suffix c, from that equation we can find out the equation for dt suffix c. So dt suffix c is equal to minus dq divided by m dot c multiplied by cpc. Okay, so mass flow rate of cold fluid multiplied by specific heat of a cold fluid is nothing but heat capacity of a cold fluid. So we will get the equation dt suffix c is equal to minus dq divided by c suffix c. Now here we have taken the subtraction of both the change of temperatures. Okay, change in temperature of a hot fluid and change in temperature of a cold fluid over the elemental area. So dt suffix h minus dt suffix c, we will get the equation equal to minus dq divided by ch, minus minus will be plus dq divided by c suffix c. Here we have taken the dq minus dq common, and we will get the equation dt suffix c, dt suffix h minus dt suffix c is equal to minus dq into bracket 1 upon ch minus 1 upon c suffix c. Now we know that the theta is nothing but theta is equal to th minus tc. Okay, therefore d theta is equal to dth minus dtc. We have taken the differentiation of theta, so for that purpose we have to take the differentiation of two temperatures, or we can say that the hot fluid temperature also and cold fluid temperature also. So instead of, in the second equation, instead of dth minus dtc, we can write d theta. Okay, so equation 2 becomes d theta is equal to minus dq into bracket 1 upon ch minus 1 upon c suffix c. So we know that the dq equation we have already written in equation number A. Equation number A says that dq is equal to u multiplied by dA multiplied by th minus tc, where u is nothing but overall heat transfer coefficient, dA is the elementary area, and the inlet temperature difference for the elemental area is th minus tc. Okay, we have to put this dq, instead of dq we have to put this particular equation in equation number 3. Okay, so equation number 3 becomes dq is equal to minus u multiplied by dA into bracket th minus tc bracket complete multiply by into bracket 1 upon ch minus 1 upon cc. Now th minus tc is nothing but theta, so for that purpose d theta is equal to minus u multiplied by dA multiplied by theta into bracket 1 upon ch minus 1 upon c suffix c. So the same terms, d theta term, d theta and theta term we have taken on the same side, so we will get the equation d theta divided by theta is equal to minus u multiplied by dA into bracket 1 upon ch minus 1 upon cc. Now we have to take the integration of this particular equation. So integration should be over the complete length of heat exchanger. So at the entry of the heat exchanger, area becomes 0, and at the exit of heat exchanger we have to consider the total surface area of the heat exchanger. Whereas from the entry to exit, theta at the entry we have to consider as the theta equal to theta 1, whereas at the exit the theta should be considered as a theta 2. Okay, so integration with the limits 1 to 2 for the d theta divided by theta equal to, now this term is constant in this particular equation, u and this bracket will be constant, so we have taken out of the integration minus u multiplied by into bracket 1 upon ch minus 1 upon cc, and we have provided the integration sign only for the dA, which is the variable. Now the limits are provided at the entry of the heat exchanger, area becomes 0 for the heat transfer, so A is equal to 0, and at the exit the total surface area we have considered, that is nothing but A. Okay, so integration, after integrating d theta divided by theta, integration of this d theta divided by theta is ln of theta. Okay, and after putting the upper limit and lower limit we will get ln of theta 2 minus ln of theta 1, and if you rearrange this by using the log rule, so we can get the term ln of theta 2 divided by theta 1 is equal to, now integration of dA is only A, and after putting the upper limit and lower limit, A minus 0. Okay, so it will once again A, so we'll get the right side as minus u multiplied by A into bracket 1 upon ch minus 1 upon c suffix c. Now we know that as for the overall length, the total heat transfer rate between the fluid is given as, okay, so over the length of a heat exchanger, the heat lost by the hot fluid is equal to the heat gained by the cold fluid. So heat lost by the hot fluid will be written as Q is equal to m dot h multiplied by Cph multiplied by Th1 minus Th2. Okay, so Th1 is the inlet temperature of a hot fluid and Th2 is the outlet temperature of a hot fluid. M dot h is the mass flow rate of hot fluid and multiplied by Cph is the is the specific heat of a hot fluid. So m dot h multiplied by Cph will get the C suffix h, that is nothing but heat capacity of a hot fluid. So this is for the heat lost by the hot fluid. Then same amount of heat will be gained by the cold fluid, that is nothing but m dot C multiplied by Cpc multiplied by Tc2 minus Tc1. So this is the Tc2 is the outlet temperature of a cold fluid and Tc1 is the inlet temperature of a cold fluid. So Q will get as Q is equal to Ch into bracket Th1 minus Th2 is equal to Cc into bracket Tc2 minus Tc1. So from this equation we can write the equation for the 1 upon Ch and 1 upon Cc. So from this particular first two terms, Q is equal to Ch into bracket Th1 minus Th2. From that we can write 1 upon Ch is equal to Th1 minus Th2 divided by Q. And from the first and the last term we can write 1 upon Cc is equal to Tc2 minus Tc1 divided by Q. Now we have calculated the values of, or we can say that the terms for 1 upon Ch and 1 upon Cc. Now just put up this particular values of 1 upon Ch and 1 upon Cc in equation number 4. So equation number 4 is ln of theta 2 divided by theta 1 is equal to minus u multiplied by a into bracket 1 upon Ch minus 1 upon Cc. So instead of 1 upon Ch and 1 upon Cc, whatever the values we have calculated, that we have to substitute in equation number 4. So the equation number 4 becomes ln of theta 2 divided by theta 1 is equal to minus u multiplied by a into bracket Th1 minus Th2 divided by Q, which is the value of 1 upon Ch minus Tc2 minus Tc1 divided by Q, which is the value of 1 upon Cc. Then the equation becomes we have taken the Q out of the bracket as the base is common. So we have taken this Q 1 upon Q as common and we have taken outside the bracket. So equation becomes ln of theta 2 divided by theta 1 is equal to minus u multiplied by a divided by Q. Now in the bracket it will be Th1 minus Th2 minus Tc2 plus Tc1. As this negative sign provided to the bracket, the Tc2 becomes minus Tc2 and minus Tc1 becomes plus Tc1. Okay, plus Tc1. Now next, in the next equation we have taken this negative sign inside the bracket. So bracket in the terms inside the brackets becomes Th1 becomes minus Th1, minus Th2 becomes plus Th2, minus Tc2 becomes plus Tc2 and plus Tc1 becomes minus Tc1. Okay, now one side temperature conditions of a heat exchanger we have taken in a bracket. Okay, so that is nothing but if you check the diagram, so in the diagram we have considered the Th1 and Tc2 on one side. So for that purpose we have consider these two terms we have taken in one bracket, where the Th2 and Tc1 are the another side of heat exchanger, or we can say that other side temperature conditions of a heat exchanger. So that we have considered in one bracket to get theta 1 and theta 2. Okay. So here in this particular equation we have taken in one bracket Th1 and Tc2. Okay, so minus Th1 plus Tc2 we have taken in one bracket, and from that bracket negative sign we have taken common. So minus Th1 minus into bracket Th1 minus Tc2 plus other side temperature conditions we have taken in one bracket. So plus Th2 minus Tc1. So plus into bracket Th2 minus Tc1. Now Th1 minus Tc2, in case of a counter flow heat exchanger, Th1 minus Tc2 is nothing but theta 1, and in case of a counter flow heat exchanger, Th2 minus Tc1 is nothing but theta 2. Okay, so the equation becomes ln of theta 2 divided by theta 1 is equal to u multiplied by a divided by q into bracket theta 2 minus theta 1. So if you rearrange the equation in the form of a total heat transfer, that is nothing but q is equal to u multiplied by a multiplied by theta 2 minus theta 1 divided by ln of theta 2 divided by theta 1. Okay, so general equation for the total heat transfer for the heat exchanger is q is equal to u multiplied by a multiplied by theta m. Okay, so u is as it is, a is as it is. If you compare the two equation, u is as it is, a is as it is, then this particular term theta 2 minus theta 1 divided by ln of theta 2 divided by theta 1 is nothing but theta suffix m, which is called as a logarithmic mean temperature difference for the counter flow. So theta m is equal to theta 2 minus theta 1 divided by ln of theta 2 divided by theta 1. If you take the negative sign common from the numerator and from the denominator, then we will get theta 1 minus theta 2 divided by ln of theta 1 divided by theta 2. Okay, the equation for the counter flow LMTD and for the parallel flow LMTD is same as it is, but we have to remember that in case of a counter flow heat exchanger, in case of parallel flow heat exchanger, theta 1 is nothing but TH1 minus TC1, that is the inlet temperature differences of hot fluid and cold fluid, and theta 2 is equal to TH2 minus TC2. Whereas in case of a counter flow heat exchanger, theta 1 is nothing but TH1 minus TC2 and theta 2 is nothing but TH2 minus TC1. Remember this point. Now we have to consider some special cases. Okay, so which is also very important in case of LMTD. So in some cases of a counter flow heat exchanger, theta 1 is equal to theta 2 is equal to theta, that is nothing but whatever the temperature differences at the inlet and at the outlet are equal, at that time what will happen we are going to see. So if it is there, then our general equation for the total heat transfer for the heat exchanger is q is equal to u multiplied by a multiplied by theta suffix m, or a appropriate mean temperature difference theta m. So by using the LMTD method, theta m is equal to theta 2 minus theta 1 divided by ln of theta 2 divided by theta 1. Now theta 2 and theta 2 are same, which is equal to theta. Okay, then theta minus theta m becomes theta minus theta divided by ln of theta divided by theta. So theta minus theta is nothing but 0 and ln of theta divided by theta is nothing but ln of 1. So ln of 1, once again its value is 0. So 0 divided by 0, which is the indeterminate value. We can't determine this value. So what will done in this particular case? So in this particular case, we need to apply the limits to the LMTD equation, and we have to apply the L'Hospital rule to solve that particular limits. So here we have considered limit x2 theta 2 tends to theta 1 for the equation theta 2 minus theta 1 divided by ln of theta 2 divided by theta 1. Okay, now we have taken this theta 1 on this side. Limits we are going to change it. That is nothing but theta 2 divided by theta 1 tends to 1. Now in the equation bracket we have taken common theta 1 from the numerator. So theta 1 into bracket theta 2 divided by theta 1 minus 1 bracket complete whole divided by ln of theta 2 divided by theta 1. Now here we are going to consider that theta 2 divided by theta 1 is equal to r. Okay, and theta 1 is equal to theta 2 is equal to theta. Both are same. Okay, theta 1 and theta 2 are same. So we have considered equal to theta. So our equation, limit equation will be changed as in this manner, as we are considering the theta 2 divided by theta 1 is equal to r. Then limit r tends to 1 into bracket theta into bracket r minus 1 divided by ln of r. Okay, now we have to solve this particular equation by using L'Hospital rule. That is nothing but in L'Hospital rule, we are differentiating the numerator and denominator separately, okay, and we are keeping that particular differentiation in the equation. So here, first of all, we are going to differentiate the numerator with respect to r, okay, we are differentiating the numerator with respect to r. So if you multiply theta inside the bracket, the equation becomes, numerator becomes theta r minus theta, and the differentiation with respect to r will get only theta in the numerator, and ln of r, the differentiation of ln of r is 1 upon r. So same thing we are getting here. So limit r tends to 1, theta divided by 1 divided by r, okay, and afterward we have to apply the limits. So instead of r we are going to put 1, so theta divided by 1 divided by 1, we will get the theta only. Hence whenever we will get theta 1 equal to theta 1 equal to theta 2, in that case we can consider any of the temperature difference, inlet temperature difference or outlet temperature difference, to calculate overall heat transfer rate, okay, or overall heat transfer. So Q is equal to U multiplied by A multiplied by theta in case of theta 1 is equal to theta 2 is equal to theta, okay. So here we have to consider this particular note. Theta m for counter flow unit is always greater than that for a parallel flow unit, okay. Hence counter flow heat exchanger can transfer more heat than parallel flow. In other words, the counter flow heat exchanger needs smaller heating surface for the same rate of heat transfer. For this reason, counter flow heat exchanger arrangement is usually used in practice, okay. So theta m is always greater than in case of a counter flow heat exchanger, theta m is always, or logarithmic mean temperature for a counter flow heat exchanger is always greater than the logarithmic mean temperature difference for a parallel flow case. So for that purpose, we are in a practice always the counter flow heat exchanger is used, okay. So the special case number second. So case number second is when temperature variation of fluid are relatively small, okay, then the temperature variation curves approximately straight lines, and accurate results are obtained by taking the arithmetic mean temperature difference, that is nothing but AMTD instead of LMTD. So the case number second says that when the temperature distribution curves are approximately straight lines, okay, as we are getting the curve in case of as we have seen in our temperature distribution diagram for a parallel flow and counter flow, we are getting the curvature temperature distribution diagram. But if some situations are there where we get the temperature distribution curves for a parallel flow arrangement and for a counter flow arrangement, we get the straight lines, okay. So in that case, instead of using logarithmic mean temperature difference, we can use arithmetic mean temperature difference. So arithmetic mean temperature difference means what? So arithmetic mean temperature difference is nothing but difference of average temperature of a hot fluid and average temperature of a cold fluid. Average temperature of a hot fluid is nothing but TH1 plus TH2 divided by 2, that is the average temperature of hot fluid, minus TC1 plus TC2 divided by 2, that is the average temperature of a cold fluid. Okay, so if you rearrange this, okay, if you rearrange this TH1 minus TC1, okay, TH1 minus TC1 plus TH2 minus TC2, okay, so this minus sign will also goes to the TC2 if you take inside the bracket. So minus TC1 minus TC2. So if you taken as the base is common, if you separate out the brackets, then we will get TH1 minus TC1 plus TH2 minus TC2. So in case of a parallel flow heat exchanger, TH1 minus TC1 is nothing but theta 1 and TH2 minus TC2 is nothing but theta 2. If you have doubt related to the counter flow heat exchanger, so in counter flow heat exchanger, theta 1 is nothing but TH1 minus TC2, okay,
So you can take this in a bracket th1 minus tc2. Okay, here also negative sign is there, and you can take the make the bracket for th2 minus tc1 also. So that will be in case of a counter flow. So in case of a counter flow also we will get the same equation for the AMTD, that is theta1 plus theta2 divided by 2. So the question in mind, when we should use the AMTD, that is arithmetic mean temperature difference, and when we should the logarithmic mean temperature difference. So for that purpose this note is very much useful. Okay, so while solving the problems of a parallel flow and counter flow heat exchanger, first of all check or calculate theta1 divided by theta2. First of all we have to calculate theta1 divided by theta2. If its value is greater than 1.7, then only use LMTD. Otherwise you can calculate the heat transfer by using AMTD method. So in a simple format, the note is if the theta1 divided by theta2 is greater than or equal to 1.7, then use LMTD method, and if theta1 divided by theta2 is less than 1.7, then use AMTD method. So in AMTD method we can write down the total heat transfer equation as Q is equal to U multiplied by A multiplied by theta A. Okay, where the theta A is nothing but appropriate mean temperature difference by using AMTD method, where theta A is equal to theta1 plus theta2 divided by 2. Okay, thank you.